Well, welcome back to the Event Center in downtown Reno. It is halftime, and we have the privilege of talking to the general manager of the Reno Bighorns, Anthony McClish. Well, Anthony, you've been the assistant for 3 years. Now you're in the top job. What's changed?
The approach, I think, is the same. The goals for the team and the organization are the same. We're trying to put a competitive group together that gets better every month and every year, and then is capable of incorporating our NBA guys in as well. So I think philosophically nothing's changed. Maybe a little bit more on the day-to-day involvement for me. I try to make it here a little bit more and interact with the group a little bit more. But philosophically, I think we're staying the same.
Well, how much of your time is taken in Sacramento? How much of it in Reno?
Well, I'm based in Sacramento, so I spend most of my time there, but I've tried to make it to most of the home games, and then I enjoyed being on the road with the group early December, so I enjoyed that. And so I'd probably say maybe 50-50 at times, and then some points, depending on what the schedules are for both teams, maybe a little bit more skewed here or there.
Tell me what goes into the thinking of Jakar Sampson. Went up, was up for a few games, played very, very well,
Right.
but he's back here.
Yep.
And kind of walk us through, and the people watching and listening, what goes through the decision when a kid goes up like that and plays well, establishes himself. He made national news with that LeBron got the shot over him, and then LeBron talked to him about him after the game.
Right.
But, how do you move him back and forth, and what's going on in the thinking with that?
Well, we know when we signed him that we had a constraint that we could only keep him for a certain amount of time within the framework of the G League season. So we knew that going in. So
Gotcha.
we know that, hey, just because he has a great 4-game stretch,
Yeah.
we can't keep you forever. So I think that he understands that. And, on the King side, we had some guys that were injured that might be coming back here, and so it would provide an opportunity for them to get some minutes. So I think it's just something that is in the grand scheme of the plan. This is just kind of one of those times in the season where you have a flow where you're maybe going to be with Reno, whereas you were with Sacramento the last week, and then a week or two from now it could be the opposite. So I think he understands that.
And as difficult as that may be on players, it's not that easy on the coaches either, because they've got to look ahead.
Right.
They've got to plan what they're going to do.
Right.
But last time out, even being somewhat shorthanded, if you will, and not having the assist from the Sacramento players, the Bighorns won a big game, 133-100,
Yeah.
over a team that only lost twice before, and they got 8 guys in double numbers. Everybody played well. Everybody was a cohesive unit. That has to make you pretty happy.
Oh, it was great. It was a lot of fun to watch. I hope the fans enjoyed it too. That, again, is the goal when you build this team, is to have a group that is self-sustaining, and then is also able to incorporate new players and new faces when they come in. This is the characteristic of this league, and it's not going away. Like you said, we don't do our coaches any favors, and they have to deal with lineup changes and different personnel changes, not only for our team, which is hard enough, but then they're doing the same thing as they opponent scout, and they're looking at guys that maybe are here one day and then gone another, so they've game planned one way or the other. But they get that too, and it's part of it. Again, the 133-100, you can't argue that one.
Can't argue that at all. At the highest score in 2 years for a Reno Bighorn team. The other thing that seems to be complicated, and I know, having worked sports for many, many years and assigned to one team, the University of Nevada, for 33 years, travel is an enormous component of putting that together. How much are you involved in that?
Well, we try to get on the forefront of the scheduling, first of all. So the league is very good about working with us for event days and figuring out back-to-backs and working out that. So we try to work in collaboration with the league as much as we can. And then now, once the schedule's finalized, then now it's up to us to figure out what the best way is to get from A to B. The difficult part is you're playing in some smaller cities and some bad weather cities.
Exactly.
So you're incorporating bus trips with plane rides and figuring out the best opportunity for the players to get some rest and recovery and sleep. So it's a product of a whole staff, our coaching staff, myself, one of our operations guys, in conjunction with our travel agents and things, if I try to figure out what the best is going to be, always keeping the players in mind and their rest and recovery in mind.
Anthony, let's talk about some of the positive things that, travel is difficult enough, and people put their hand up to their forehead and say, oh my gosh, you got to do that again. But this has been a franchise that's been very community-oriented, very involved, has won awards for doing that.
Yeah.
Tell us what we can look forward after the first of the year, maybe. I know we got a couple more home games here, but after the first of the year, what are the plans? What's going forward that fans may look forward to or can be excited about?
Well, immediately right after the new year, we have the game in Sacramento, which I know that the fans there enjoy and the players enjoy, and that's an opportunity for us to, again, build the cohesion between the two groups. gives our guys an opportunity who were with us in training camp to come back, and then some of the guys on the Kings roster and the Kings staff who wouldn't normally have the opportunity to come here to watch and interact with the guys, maybe some teaching moments there too. So immediately after the new year, we have that, and then we go right into the showcase. And so we really have a two or three week span that are pretty busy. Like you talked about travel, it's not the most conducive for that.
Where's the showcase this year?
Toronto.
Toronto, that's right.
Mississauga, Toronto.
Okay.
Yep. Not in Reno anymore, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately, and that was always good because guys like to come here because of so many activities and other things. The games are one thing, and you're here to work, but there are other things to do. Well, that's good. I look forward to that, and thank you very much, Anthony, for taking the time. I know you're from the Ohio State.
Yes.
So are there? Can you give me any hint when they play in the Rose Bowl against USC? What may happen?
I can't. You know, I'm glad that they made it at the Rose Bowl. Fifth in the nation isn't the worst thing you could finish. I know they probably would have liked to make the playoffs, but it's not a bad consolation prize.
Good to visit with you.
Likewise.
Anthony McClish, the general manager of the Reno Bighorns. We're at halftime here at the Event Center in downtown Reno. We'll be back with more after this timeout.